All right, welcome to another episode of our Friday Connecting the Dots Super Sherpas strategy call. And as we have done the last couple of weeks, and we're going to pick up where we left off, we're going to be talking about warriornetworking.com, be connected, and leveraging AI in our attempts for strategies of smarter networking, and using AI today, as we're going to be talking about, is kind of our secret weapon. As Nathan and I discussed as we were going through this, there's so much more that you can do these days with artificial intelligence. And as I told Christine before we started, it's her fault because when we were going down the journey of warriornetworking.com, and she said, "Do you mind if we use AI to help?" And I said, "Absolutely not, because I could learn a lot from you probably about how we could do AI." So under warriornetworking.com, we're continuing to evolve that and utilizing as I think Nathan defined it, the smartest person in the room, our AI assistant, to help us kind of craft the messaging and those kinds of things. But where we left off from last week, we were talking about strategies of engaging, getting noticed, connecting, using AI to kind of process information and give us things that we can do in the whole networking thing, right? Getting down to things that our audience cares about. And so where we left off was really talking about, we kind of got into what AI is. We talked about introducing the concept of not replacing human, but augmenting human interaction. And then last episode, we were talking about knowing your ideal connection profile, what you want to look like, what they want to look like, those kinds of things, and using AI to generate some of that beginning stuff to really kind of accelerate that whole process. Today, we're going to talk about looking at smart engagement tactics for things like, and here's Christine's word, intentional networking and collaborating. So networking isn't, again, as I think everybody knows here that's an effective networker, it's not about showing up to sell, it's showing up to serve. And so when you're showing up to serve, if you're collaborating, then you're already focused on the other people. You're trying to create win-win, you're trying to create those things. So, and you say, well, what's AI got to do with that? Well, AI can be great with that, because when I look at Christine or I look at Nathan or I look at anybody in my network, they're not a very small thing. They have a history, they have their purpose, they have their value, they have where they want to go. Processing all of that into a few questions to ask to get the thing going, as we talked about a little bit last week, is hard. So Christine, since you've been on vacation and hugging grandkids and doing all that stuff, and by the way, we have Christine Dean, Nathan Daniel, and myself, tell me, how do you react to that coming back from vacation? What is your take on all this?
Well, I'm really excited about this because AI has been a big part of my business for quite a while now. And it's interesting because last night we officially just launched that we were starting a new group for AI Innovation Allies. And so we're doing a channel and we're bringing in some of the AI leaders. And I was like, oh, how timely is that? So I love that we're all in sync on that. This is very exciting. I like to think of my AI assistants as kind of like your best friend. They usually have pretty good advice, but they're not always exactly perfect. And so sometimes you gotta be like, I don't know if I'm okay with this part of it, or let's tweak that a little bit. But on a whole, they usually have pretty good ideas.
Right. Yeah. And I think that then that assistant having ideas, kind of as we've talked the last couple of weeks for sure, is just like if you were, let's say, in a mastermind. We do a monthly mastermind. And you're not looking in that mastermind necessarily to say, okay, I'm going to do everything they say.
Right.
You're looking for ideas. You're looking to expand your thinking on any given topic, any goal, any challenge. That's what we do in the mastermind. Well, adding AI as a member of the mastermind, which we did for a while, and then we kind of stopped, but I think we're going to go back to it on my monthly mastermind, is okay. That's a good question. That's a good challenge. What do we do? And then, but in terms of Nathan, when we talked about it last week, I'm going to come to you. When you were talking about we were talking about using AI to analyze people's history, their LinkedIn profile. I think we kind of landed that LinkedIn, from having their CV, having their, what they're doing. If they've done a good job with their LinkedIn, you can get more depth in understanding where they're coming from, where not just where they are. And too many people just focus on what they are. In fact, when I'm putting together warrior networking profiles, I see these very short things saying, this is what I'm focused on. Well, yeah, so is 100,000 other people. But how do I take you and create that, and AI can help me help them? So what do you think, Nathan, as you've thought about, creating collaborations? Because I know you're creating collaborations. I know Christine just mentioned a collaboration of people who are, focused on AI. So what do you think, Nathan?
Yeah, I mean, I think from a collaborative perspective, I mean, any network that you're going to be using, always having the question, go into it, I guess, with the mentality of who do you know that I should know, right? And the thing is, though, is like as you start to focus on the relationships, start engaging with them, right? Like if I were to go to, I mean, Christine, I know you use an amazing tool, AI tool that actually helps a lot with this. As you go into, Dave, say I want to go into your network, and I can actually go into your existing network that you have and say, hey, you have connections here. Can we start a warm dialogue? Can you help me start a warm dialogue with that? And Christine, like I said, I know you have an amazing tool to help with that.
So the amazing tool. Is that my hand up there, Nathan?
Yep. Yeah, it has a handoff because it's just beautiful. And like making that warm connection allows for that collaboration to happen. So it's not just cold,
Right.
It's
the
really
AI.
warm.
Yeah, the tool that you're referring to is the My Most Trusted tool. And that tool is kind of floats around and follows you. I say it's my LinkedIn Stalker app, right? It's a little Chrome extension that follows you around. But what it does is the AI tool built into that. And I didn't even think about that because, yes, that's AI, pure AI right there. It takes a look at someone's profile, their LinkedIn profile specifically, right? And kind of does a summary. It gives them topic ideas that you might want to talk to them about. These are conversation starters for them. You can ask the Chat GPT in there to start an initial conversation with them, and it'll give advice on that. So you can really use it in a lot of interesting ways. And what that does is it helps you cut through the noise, right? You've got somebody's huge profile, they've got all these posts, and you're like, but really at their core, what's important to them, right? And the AI kind of helps you get into that sometimes, so you can kind of see what those key ideas are, to understand by looking at a lot of information. That's where all the deep research kind of stuff comes in, right? And it can look at all that information and say, oh, here's really what's important. Why don't you talk to them about that? And you're like, brilliant. Yes, I would love to talk to them about what's actually important to them. Right. So it really comes in handy. It even writes the little, this is about this person. This is about this person. Hope you two make magic together. I mean, it opens up things for, it's just amazing. So there are so many AI tools that can really not only just save you time and help you brainstorm, but really can even help you make connections.
So the tool is that what it's called? I don't use it.
Yeah, it's called My Most Trusted.
My Most Trusted, and
I've used it to connect you to people too, also, David.
No, I know. I've seen the output. I just didn't. I mean, I've seen you on LinkedIn say, "Hey, Dave, I want to introduce you to Nathan, and here's the connection." And so is that a LinkedIn extension? Is that a Google Chrome? What is that?
Yeah, it's a Google Chrome extension. Works well with LinkedIn. And it also is, I think, now being able to follow you into Zoom rooms and that kind of stuff too. So it does a little bit more with that. I don't do a lot in Zoom, so I probably not getting as much out of it as I could in that way. But
yeah, maybe we can figure out how to make it on these calls and stuff. One of the things I did after our last episode. I don't know if Nathan, you saw it, or Christine, but I said, here's the transcript for Nathan and my discussion today, and create a WordPress blog post that I can post on warriornetworking.com. And it created this very cool, I mean, I had to edit it a little bit, of course, but it created this very cool point by point, we made it sound really smart because it was very organized, unlike my normal conversation, which is, as Christine said before we started, well, we're just going to go with the flow because we got to end at 11 o'clock. So, that's kind of the way we're very aligned in that regard. Okay. So, my most trusted tool. Now, let me ask you this, Christine, because one of the things that we were kicking around last time, and Nathan, you can clarify if I don't get it right, was the fact that as we're looking at AI to manage our connections, virtual, in-person, those kinds of things, the strategy needs to be more than it has been in the past. The strategy needs to be more dynamic. Whether you're feeding information to your CRM, whether you're, the automation, kind of the bottom line, and I think it's even in that blog post, is automation can't feel like automation. It needs to be current. It needs to be continuing a thread. So what are your thoughts about how or strategies to do that?
Well, that's a great point, right? The idea of nobody wants to be sold to. We've talked about that over and over again, right? So good input, good answers, bad input, bad answers. So if you tell it, create me a campaign so I can sell something to someone, right? Well, right there, you started it off wrong, and it's going to come across as a big pitch fest, right? So you don't want that, right? And literally the best response, I remember when I was working on it with Oz with Nemosa, with our business there, we gone through and I was trying to get it to do a reach out campaign on LinkedIn. I was trying to get the wording right. And I was like, I just don't like this. It really sounds like a pitch. And so I finally went in and I just told the AI, I said, take out all selling elements and focus instead on creating connections. Game changer. Just by giving it that little twist, it was the most beautiful piece. I just wanted to cry. It was all about building relationships and how, we're in the same industry. I'd love to collaborate and see how we can talk. I was like, AI after my own heart, right? But it's only knows based on what you tell it. So if you don't want to, offend everybody with like, hi, this is my first message to you. Will you buy my stuff? Right? You have to actually tell it what you want, which is help me build relationships. And it will give you brilliant ideas.
Well, and that kind of is very much aligned with what Nathan was saying in terms of if you don't like the answer that AI is giving you, then the reality of it is you didn't ask the right question. And don't be afraid to say, because they're not going to be offended. Unlike your assistant, who might get offended because they thought they had a better answer and you told them, no, that's not it. That hurts their feelings. AI doesn't care. It's a robot. It doesn't care, right? So you just say, no, you screwed up. That's not what I wanted. This is what I want. I actually told AI today, because my name is David Roberts, for some reason, it decided my name was Robert, not David. And I said today, before we start, by the way, my name is David Roberts, and so it started calling me David. So I was happy. That was another win. Nathan, bounce off of what Christine said.
Nathan's going to say the same thing that you just said.
Yeah, I was going to say the same thing. And I have to say, guys, I love these conversations because y'all know I'm a creative and I love this topic and everything. And just to prove how this can work, we're talking about collaboration here. Mm-hmm. So do y'all want to see collaboration in action with some AI? I've been working secretly behind the scenes since we started this call. This has literally been less than 12 minutes since we started this conversation, and this is what this has come up with. All right. So I got to figure out how I can share my screen here. So start share screen. Going to wow, I've got so many tabs open. Let's go to the window. Here we go.
Know that feeling.
Oh yeah, here we go. Okay, y'all can see my screen here. All right.
Yep.
So what I did, I initiated a prompt that said, I'd like for you to help me create an event where a few of us can create a collaborative event provide it for our audience. Okay. Here are the people. Here's their LinkedIn profiles. Scrape all three, come up with valuable topics for the event that supports our profile. Okay. So it came up with an initial one.
Gorgeous. I just got to say, Nathan, I'm loving this to start with.
Yeah. So Dave, it was actually directed towards the Suitmobile. I was like, nah, that's a little while ago. It's a good, valuable topic, but that's not who Dave is today. So I said, now change this, right? You're talking about changing and updating the prompt. Let's give Dave a little bit more. So here's what it came up with. Amplify your impact, strategies for scaling, branding, and community engagement. If we were to come together right now and collaborate and put on a virtual event for our audiences selectively, here's what it's all about. Boom. Then guess what, Dave? You're talking about warrior networking, building powerful connections to elevate your business. Here's the overview of that topic. Then Nathan, capital expansion officer, fueling growth, accessing capital to scale your business. And then Christine wraps it up. Networking for success, building authentic connections to elevate your brand. All things that what people want. Here's the event details, collaborative opportunities, promotional strategies, all of the things. And that's just getting this ball started, because then I can turn around and ask, create a social media storm to promote this event. Please. Always ask it nicely. It always provides better results. And here you go. Here's a competitive strategy on all this stuff. Here's a storm. Boom, there it goes. So there you go. I wanted to share that as a collaborative nature in less than 15 minutes to show you how you can use this to AI to actually create.
Whoa!
Boom, there it is.
There we go. See, so our mastermind today in this topic included Christine, Nathan, and I. And we said, okay, let's have, this is a beautiful example, right? Because we just talked, this is a collaboration. So then maybe we're done because we got to end at the top of the hour, right? So we got to go. So now we've got a template to come back to for our next 30 minutes or whatever and say, okay, what do you think? Let's make this. Okay, yeah, I need to improve this. I need to improve that. AI, help me get the words right. Let's come up with some graphics. By the way, you can do graphics. Come up with some graphics to illustrate this. Use my brand. Use this. Use that. Right, Christine? I mean, you're the expert here. So yeah.
Yeah, I'm ready to take that, run with it, drop it into my Magi, and use my viral posts, persona, and have it bust that out. Man, we're going to have a really good event that we're not having. I'm just saying.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Yeah. It's going to be amazing.
Oh, who knows? One of the things we talked about, and Christine and I will kind of kick around a little bit, is now that we're over 125 people in warriornetworking.com, and we're going to be expanding that. It's not just about expanding that. It's about adding more value, giving more evidence of value. And so one of the things we're going to do is, as I mentioned last week, is I'm relaunching Warrior versus Zombie podcast. We're going to launch Triggered by Warrior versus Zombie. We're going to do warrior networking events. We're going to leverage this Super Sherpas, and we're going to create periodic big events. They could be, summits. They could be whatever. And that'll all be kind of, sponsored, if you will, by warriornetworking.com and Be Connected and, Networking Diva. And, we can do a collaboration, right? What do you think, Christine?
I think that also goes perfectly with one conversation I was just having the last 2 days with another leader. And I said, I think we need a networking leadership summit to bring the leaders together from some of the major networking organizations. And Nathan, that system you just put in place, wouldn't that be nice to put those main leaders in there and have it come up with a wonderful agenda for us? And I think AI is going to be a big part of us putting this together.
Yeah. I mean, because think about it, like, especially if you're going to be networking, collaborating with people that are supportive of your space, it's not in your exact lane, but you don't know enough details about what they do. Well, guess what? Let AI be the one that knows what they do, but then it can craft that narrative that supports a very awesome event, whether it's local, online, whatever it is, Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I think it's beautiful, but there you go. Like, that was a powerhouse little system just put together.
And I want to take your creativity and your brilliance there and say that template, think of it as a template we can go through, and I'm thinking, my brain goes and starts thinking about other things. I've got multiple financial people, financial planning, whatever in my thing. They're always, getting them to collaborate, not see each other as competition, that kind of stuff. However, when I look at all of them, I see them all playing and collaborating and adding value. So we could create summits on financial, take the 5 top people in our network and make and promote each of them around the subject to serve the audience on the best thoughts coming from that collective, right? On financial strategies, investing, insurance, risk mitigation, whatever it happens to be, right? And we could have something that would appeal not necessarily to everybody, but would appeal to people who are looking to get their financial house in order, which a lot of people are doing right now, right? And I could go on. I could talk about home improvement. I could talk about you could take that idea that you just threw out there and this little collaboration, right? And we could explode it. Christine, what do you think?
I'm loving it. There's so many possibilities. And I was just thinking, our little AI that we were talking about earlier with My Most Trusted. Oh, bring this person, this person. Well, gee, you could do it on your own and say, actually, I'd love to see you and you work together. I think you guys would do wonderful for a summit. In fact, here you go. See, I don't actually want to run it. I just wanted to put you guys together in the same space. And here's everything you need to make that happen.
Yeah, and you could actually, I love it because you could have, and
Nathan and I might be collaborating on this one, right? I see this coming.
I'm saying, look, we can create this as a way to bring the world to us, not necessarily, in other words, we can say, hey, this is a way that we can collaborate, and it's in a very open servant leadership, networking approach, right? Nathan, go ahead. I know you.
Okay. All right. So, and I'm going to take a little different approach to this because maybe somebody who's watching this, maybe they're not at a point where they're ready to talk and present or be on stage or do those kind of things. So how could they use the same tactic to support them in their growth, right? And where they're at right now? Why not do the same thing, kind of what Christine was just saying, go to 3 or 4 people that have expertise in their lane, but you host the event, right? You're the MC of the entire thing. And so who are they actually going to remember? Because if you're opening it and then you're in transition phase between all the different speakers and you close it, guess who they're going to remember most inside that event? It's going to be you. And by using the borrowed credibility of people who get more, more eyeballs on what they're doing, but you're using their borrowed credibility, then you'll actually in turn start to grow your brand as well.
Brilliant. Love it.
Then you don't have to do anything except go, man, y'all can't wait. Dave is going to bring the heat about networking. And here we go. Turn it over to Mr. Dave Roberts. Here we go. Bam, it's done.
Yeah. This is brilliance, guys. It's AI fueled brilliance, but it's brilliance. It really is, because there's so much. I love, Christine, you use my favorite word over and over already in this is possibilities. And the thing is, that was one of the things that came out in our discussion last couple of weeks when you were hugging grandkids, is that possibilities. It's like I get stuck personally. This is my own personal demon. I get stuck with, what do I do next? There's so many things pinging around in my brain. So then get all the possibilities out there and then say, okay, I need to bring this down to give me the top 3, or give me this, or give me and AI can do that for me in a way that I have trouble doing. I need a Christine to help me organize my thought in today's world. So Christine plus AI can improve that for me dramatically. Is that okay, Christine? You mind?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Partners in crime. There it is. But Nathan's coming up with some pretty good brilliance there. We might end up tapping him and he'd be like, no, guys, I'm working. Be like, no.
Well, oh, by the way, I just went ahead and created an entire business on what I just said, on how you can host and run events, bring powerhouses to the table. And I just have an entire business model that's now in place too. thanks to our wonderful AI assistant.
I love it. I want in on that one, Nathan. Just
All right,
saying.
that sounds good. That sounds good.
Well, I think that maybe we're defining here a collaboration. One of the things I'm doing, and Christine and I'll talk about, is I'm creating an advisory board for warriornetworking.com, which I probably will invite y'all to be part of that, as well as some other folks to take it to the next level and to bring in other folks. And we'll figure out how to manage that, share the value of that, and have more impact. So I love this conversation. We are at 10:58. So let me invite you again, for those that are watching this in replay, watch the previous episodes, because it's kind of like you're in the middle of a conversation. If you look at previous episodes, you're going to see kind of where we've come. And maybe there'll be things that will repeat, but for the most part, we're here. The next episode, we're going to talk about some of our successes. Nathan got it started here with, hey, we used AI to do this and we created this. And it's just some, between now and next time, if you're watching this show, and I'm going to do it, and I think Christine and Nathan's already started, is brainstorm some ideas about that. And we can kind of, if you have those ideas, send a chat message, send something on Be Connected, or whatever platform you want, and let us know. Hey, Nathan, go ahead.
I have a challenge for anybody that does watch this and wants help with this. I think it'd be kind of fun. It would be for me anyways. I don't know about y'all, but like if somebody says, hey, I have this idea and this is what I want to do, like we could actually have a collaborative brainstorm around their idea and help them craft that live on the thing. I think that would be a fun episode in the future. So
yeah. All right. Well,
so that's what I got.
Make sure I don't miss that. Christine, any other final words?
No, I love it. Let's do it.
I'm so glad you're back. We missed you.
Nathan, send me that stuff. I want what you just played with. I want it.
Yeah, me too. Me too. Share. All right, guys. Well, we'll be back next Friday, same time, same bat time, same bat channel, and who knows where we'll go. But we're going to have fun, that's for sure. So have a beautiful day and a beautiful weekend. This is Wildflower Festival here in Richardson, so it's craziness outside. I don't know if you've heard any of the background music, but it's crazy where I am. So you guys have a beautiful weekend, and we'll see you next Friday.